Hey, folks, and welcome to another edition of Minister's Bullet. I'm glad you're here. We're going to continue to work through Second Corinthians. We're going to stick with chapter 4 today and just jump down to verses 8 and 9. And it's a verse that's personally a favorite of mine. I'm sure you get tired of me saying that, but I got a lot of favorite verses, and this is a good one. It's a very uplifting, it's very encouraging, talking about the perseverance of uh, our faith. So let's get into it. Paul writes in verse 8, "We are afflicted in every way, but not crushed; perplexed, but not driven to despair; persecuted, but not forsaken; struck down, but not destroyed." I just love it. Um, it, it it really gives me some encouragement, because in life we're gonna have tough times, trials, tribulations, where there's going to be times when we feel like we're beaten, and we can't see a way forward. But God's saying here, we do not get destroyed. God doesn't forsake us. We do not ultimately and finally lose all hope. We persevere. What I when was looking at this verse, the word that I seemed like it was out of place to me was perplexed. I don't know how you use that word, but I use it in very light conversation, is to say, well, that's actually, I don't even use the word that much, but if I was going to use it, it would almost be like I'm a little confused by that, or I don't understand. I don't understand. I'm perplexed by what you mean. So I looked up the meaning of the Greek word, which is aporeo, and it means to be at a loss, and to not be able to see a way forward. So that's what Paul is saying. There's going to be times in our life where we may be in a really dark place, and we might not be able to see a way forward, but we are not going to be driven to complete despair, because we have that hope in Jesus Christ, and we have the promises that his word gives us. And I want to share a few of those. In James 1, 2, and 3, uh, James said, "Count it all joy, my brothers, when you meet trials of various kinds. For you know that the testing of your faith produces steadfastness." So, uh, our trials, our tribulations, the tough times we go through, we really need to learn to look at these things as part of our sanctification, of God forging us in the fire, so to speak, that we go through these things, we learn to depend on Him. It strengthens our faith. When our faith is tested, when we really are losing hope, when we persevere in those moments and hold on to that faith, it's when we grow. It's when we mature. And Paul said as much in Romans 5, verses 3 and 4. Not only that, but we rejoice in our sufferings, knowing that suffering produces endurance, and endurance produces character, and character produces hope. So, absolutely, um, while that verse we initially shared in Second Corinthians 4, 8 through 9, we're afflicted in every way. We are burdened. We go through trials. We go through tribulations. Paul says we are not crushed. We are not destroyed. We persevere. We overcome. God's people, um, we overcome. We persevere. And a couple verses that speaks to that is one of my, again, one of my favorites. 1 John 5, 4. "For everyone who has been born of God overcomes the world." Um, that's just a promise, that is to each and every one of us, um, that if we've been born again, we're not going to be destroyed. We're not going to lose our faith finally and totally. We will overcome the sin we're struggling with, the temptation we're facing. And another verse that I really like is Philippians 1, 6. "And I am sure of this, that he who began a good work in you will bring it to completion at the day of Jesus Christ." What God started in you, in me, He's going to finish. God doesn't just change his mind. Actually, scripture, 1 Samuel 5:29, I think, says God does not change his mind. He's immutable. He's unchanging. And if he decided to begin a work in us to start to move us towards becoming more like Jesus Christ, and he began that process, he's not going to give up and walk away. He says he's not going to forsake us. We've got these promises. So I love this. I love this verse in 2 Corinthians 4:8 and 9. We are afflicted in every way, but we are not crushed, perplexed, but not driven to despair, persecuted, but not forsaken, struck down, but not destroyed. Very good encouragement to all of us, especially when we are going through tough times and we're in a dark place, or we're just stressed out and worried about the future. We have these verses we can come back to in Scripture to get us through, to support us, to encourage us, to remind us of God's promises and His love for us. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson. It's a very encouraging, hopeful promise that God gives us in His Word. And we got Thanksgiving coming up 2 days from now, and I hope you all have a very blessed time with your family and friends, and you take time to really consider all the blessings in your life and all the things that you have reason to be thankful for. We're all blessed beyond anything close to what we deserve. And Thursday, Thanksgiving, will be a good day to acknowledge that and lift up your gratitude and praises to God. Thank you, and God bless.